What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Flying Pig Podcast. My name is Eddie.
And I'm John.
And we are tired. We're so devastated and destroyed, but it's awesome. On today's podcast, John had the opportunity to interview Matt from King Parrot. They come all the way from Australia. So how was that, John?
Crazy. They stayed over at our house for 2 nights and did the podcast and went to the show afterwards. It was an experience.
I didn't get the chance to go, but I saw a couple of your snaps. And
my phone got eaten by Matt, the singer, at one point. The whole energy of their live performance. Everyone was on stage. He would jump on top of everyone, bring people on top of the stage.
Nice.
Really, really handsy, like with the audience and stuff like that. The people loved it.
That's awesome.
And other than that, they stayed over at our house, and it was quite an experience waking up and looking a full room of Aussies.
Oh, nice.
But really, really cool dude. Shout out to our boy Nick Marrero from The Embrace. He also stayed. He's being the tour manager for them for the last couple of weeks. And
they're still going on tour. So make sure you check them out on social media. King Parrot. They have Instagram, Facebook, all that jazz, all that good stuff. I personally want to give a shout out to Ryan Teagues from The Unsung, one of our good friends. He often helps us out during our shows. We had the opportunity to go to Red Bull Records in Hollywood, and we hung out at the Beartooth album release right there in their headquarters, and it was amazing. They treated us amazing. Everybody at Red Bull Records was awesome to us. We met a bunch of their employees and just everybody, from the person at the door, from the person in the bar. Everybody was awesome. We had a really good time. We also had the opportunity to eat all you can eat Taco Bell food truck, which was great. A bunch of bean burritos, a bunch of Red Bull delicacies.
I saw you sent me a couple of pictures. You met a couple of people there.
I ran by Garrett Russell from Silent Planet was there. And a bunch of other people from the industry, but it was an amazing release. Their album's actually pretty good. I enjoy it very, very much. It's a little bit different, but it's completely awesome. I feel they did a really good job, and their show live was amazing. Ryan, at one point, I'm like, where is Ryan? I don't know where Ryan is. He just went away and started running, and I just saw his big head in the mosh pit. I'm like, holy shit, Ryan just disappeared from me. But yeah, shout out to Ryan Teagues once again, and the beautiful people at Red Bull Records. They definitely treat us really good, really good. I'm really happy that I got the opportunity to go there. So yeah, we want to invite everybody also. June 25th, we're going to be performing at the Rock Party Music Festival in Pico Rivera and the Whittier area, that little section over there. We have tickets available. We have a small amount of tickets at a special sale price of $15. If you visit www.themiragetheory.com, you will be able to get your tickets while they last. So don't sleep on it. And we're also going to be at Chain Reaction July 16th. We're going to be performing with Era, The Plotting You, Siler, Invent Animate. It's going to be amazing. So tickets are available at themiragetheory.com, and feel free to message us and follow us on social media, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, all this stuff. Without further ado, here's Matt from King Parrot.
Welcome to the Flying Pig Podcast. I'm your host, John, and we're here with Matt from King Parrot, metal band from Australia. What's up, Matt?
Not much, brother. Just been touring around the States for the last couple of weeks. Just started off in Texas and made our way over to California now. We played at the Whiskey last night, which was really good, and playing down in Santa Ana tonight. So, yeah, we've been having a really good time. It's been good. The weather's great. It's winter in Australia at the moment, so, I'm enjoying being in the sun, man.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And what does King Parrot actually mean? Because I know it's it's a type of parrot from Australia.
Yeah.
But there might be I don't know, something hidden.
There is. It's a parrot in Australian slang term is an annoying person. So, you know, if someone's annoying, you just like, you're a parrot, you know, or, you know, something like that. So, and it's actually a reference from a movie. There's a movie called Chopper, an Australian movie called Chopper, that if you get an opportunity to check it out, it's well worth it. It's about this Australian criminal who was I don't know. He murdered some people. But he was a bit of a larrikin, you know. He was a bit, and he was a bit of a storyteller, and he became a police informer, and he was spent a lot of time in jail. And there's a scene from the movie Chopper where he's in prison, and someone calls him a parrot, and that was. We thought that was pretty funny, and if you watch the movie, you'll understand what I mean. It's quite ridiculous. It's a really ridiculous film, but super cool. And so it kind of came from that, you know. And we were just like, well, we'll just be King Parrot, you know. And I like the fact that it's not a typical name for a metal band, you know. It's not it's a name that we've been able to grow into, and I guess in Australia kind of people understand it to a certain degree, but over here it's, you know, it kind of needs a bit of explaining. But I think when you actually see us perform live, that you get it, you know, like you go, oh, that's why they're called King Parrot. So yeah.
That's cool. You're the vocalist, right?
That's right.
How long have you been a vocalist for?
So I guess, you know, I'm actually like a bass player and have played bass in a lot of bands back in Australia, but I guess this is the first sort of band I've been a vocalist in with King Parrot. So yeah, I've been doing it for about 4 or 5 years, and I think it's been an interesting thing. I think initially it's, you know, just getting up there and being a vocalist is you know, when you're going from being a bass player, it's kind of scary because you're sort of getting up there and you've got nothing to hide behind. You know, you've got nothing to you know, sort of guard you between you and the audience. And I guess initially I found it really tricky. You know, it was really difficult, and just to sort of get that confidence and to get that interaction and connection with the audience going. And then I think, you know, just building that confidence up, playing a lot of shows. We played a lot in Australia in our, you know, initial stages of forming the band. You know, we would go out every weekend and play like a lot of shows all the time, and you know, really make a point of honing our live performance aspect, as well as obviously the, you know, playing the music, but entertaining and putting on a bit of a show as well. So I think that's been a big part of our band, and I really enjoy it now. You know, I mean, it's not like I'm doing a lot of, you know, singing in key or anything like that. You know, it's extreme metal vocals, so it's not. It is what it is. You know, it's a whole craft in its own sense, I think. You know, and it's something that I've been really. You know, enjoying learning about and learn. You know, had the opportunity to tour and play with some of the best extreme metal vocalists in the world. So it's been a really good experience for me, and just trying to, you know, create my own style and my own way of doing things. So
yeah, man, getting up there and being a front man is it's challenging. Like you said, like you don't have anything to hide behind, and technically, like, you're a representation of your band, because in most times the singer is the front man, so he's the one engaging with the audience, and it's a craft. Like, I've seen really good bands with not such of a good front man,
exactly,
and I've seen not so good bands with really good frontmen. And
I know what you're saying there, and I've seen it happen in many different, you know, both ways. You know, where there's a talented frontman or a really talented band without the talented frontman, and it can really make or break the band. And I think the thing that we've tried to do with King Parrot is have a united front with all the musicians in the band, helping to present what is a pretty extreme and in-your-face sort of live show. There's no, I mean, I don't know. You'll see when you see us perform, I guess, but we want it to be entertaining and aggressive and in your face, as well as a little bit lighthearted as well, with a bit of fun involved. So, it's kind of, we walk a sort of a fine line between those sort of elements, but I think we kind of pull it off at the moment. And I guess the fact that we've been able to tour pretty much non-stop through Australia, through the US and Canada, and through Europe over the last few years is testament to that. So, yeah.
That's cool. So you've traveled all around the world, basically doing what you like.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, we just did 36 shows with Soulfly through Europe. That was really cool. And we've done a few shows in Asia and stuff. Obviously, we've toured a lot at home in Australia. North America is probably the place where we've toured the most. And we've been lucky enough to get out with bands like Down and Cattle Decapitation and Superjoint and Weed Eater. We toured with Origin as well. We've done a few shows with bands like Unearth and Darkest Hour and Carnifex. We've played with a really broad spectrum of bands, and I guess we play like a bit of a splice of sort of grindcore and thrash and punk rock. So it's not sort of easily sort of categorized. And I think we see that as well back home in Australia. Like we draw from so many different pools of audience. It's not just, these sort of people that like our music. There's, we pull from the rock crowd, we pull from the punk crowd, and we pull from the metal crowd as well. So that's, it's a good thing for us.
Definitely. Like that way you're not just putting all of your energy just into one group of people, but since you're very diverse, you're able to get the different types of crowds, which means more fans.
I think so. Yeah, and I think we put a lot of time and effort into our music videos and stuff as well. So that's really helped us as well, sort of branch out. There's sort of that humor element in our music videos as well, which has helped us branch out a lot to a broader audience, I think, I guess it's sort of, if people aren't necessarily into the music that much, they might sort of watch the video and then sort of, we might gently win them over. Well, not gently, but try. They might like the video, So and then that open their mind to the music a little bit more. So yeah, that's been an interesting way for us to do things, but. And it wasn't really an intentional way of doing things as well. We just wanted to make some fun videos, but it's certainly opened many doors for us in terms of branching out to a broader audience.
That's really cool. Yeah, today I saw one of your videos where this dude wakes up and he's with another member of the band. He's like, dude, like, what the hell? Where's my girl?
Oh yeah, yep.
Was that
like a
rat, right?
Yep,
yeah.
Yep.
And then all of you are hanging out outside, and there's this guy that comes out with like devil.
Yeah, that's Slats, our bass player. Yeah, yeah. He's he's kind of like, he's a really good actor and as well as a musician, and he's a talented guy, and we sort of, he really shines in front of the camera. So it's cool that he gets that opportunity to, it's cool to be creative in a different way, just as opposed to the music, or the sound or the audio or whatever. It's cool to be able to try and have that aspect of the band that we can, be creative in this totally different way. So, we're an Australian band, and we have, a lot of influences from other Australian like metal bands and punk bands and rock bands. So we like to try and keep it in that vein, so that people, we don't want to, try and hide it or try and pretend to be an American band or anything like that, because there's already millions of American bands, and we have no interest in doing that. And I know there's a lot of bands from Australia that do try and do that, and it's like, I think they kind of get a little bit sort of lost in the fact that there's actually like literally millions of bands in America already doing that stuff, So we don't try and hide the fact that we're Australian and there's certainly Australian stories and stuff that if you go into it and read it, you'd go, okay, these guys are Australian for sure. Yeah, so I think in terms of King Parrot, there's definitely a difference in the way that the vocals and the lyrics sound and all that sort of stuff. Different again from some other Australian bands and definitely different from US bands, or European bands.
When was the band created?
Well, I think we sort of started jamming around 2010, then we had a little break, and then we got back into it 2011 and started gigging a little bit more steadily and working on things and got our first EP together and put that out. Started trying to play more shows and whatnot. And I think towards the end of 2012, we put out our debut album in Australia, and then that got picked up internationally, and that came out internationally together with that first EP in 2013. And then I think, and then it took us about another 6 months to a year to sort of first get our first tour over here in the US. And so 2014 we came over here, we played at South by Southwest in Texas and did a big US tour, and pretty much we went home, did a tour, came straight back to the States, did a tour. We stayed over here and wrote a new album. And then we went home, and then we came back and toured with Down. We recorded our latest album, Dead Set, which came out in May of 2015. And we've just been sort of ping-ponging back, forth, going back to Australia, doing a tour, going back to America, doing a tour, going to Europe, doing a tour. So it's kind of been ideal, really, in terms of, what you want to try and do as a band, Like, we love to perform, so... it's really picked up in the last couple of years, definitely. But it is always tricky as a young sort of. I mean, we're not young people, but we're a young band, and just trying to get your foot in the door and get established in the international sort of touring circles and stuff. I find that is one of the most challenging things that a band can come up against, and it, and then when you actually get out there and start touring, and some people it just isn't for them. You know what I mean? And then you got to go, well, we need to realign and maybe get a new member or do something like that. So it's tricky, It's a lot of kind of people management stuff goes on as well, and it's an interesting caper, that's for sure. Spending
so much time with other people, like living like really close together, playing together. It's really rough. I personally love it. I've only done one major tour, almost 2 months, and I would have kept going. But there were other members of the band that they realized that wasn't their thing. Yeah. So, like you said, we ended up, we were like, this is something that we want to do, and it's something that they knew that the band wanted to do, so we parted ways, and it's for the best. The people that are now, we share the same vision, so it
I agree, man, and I think it's something that you kind of really need to make clear, I guess, from the outset, so that when if it doesn't work out or someone says, hey, this isn't for me, that you can go, well, that's fine if it's not for you, but this is what the band's going to do. And if you can't do it, then that's fine. It doesn't mean we don't have to be friends. It doesn't mean we have to hate each other. It just means that the band's doing this and you don't want to do it. Exactly. So, and I think, a lot of bands sort of struggle with that, and especially in the initial stages. And it's one thing to get a band together and write and create and make good music. That's one thing. But then there's that other element of what you want to do with that, what you want to do with the music, and whether you want to become a touring band, an international band. So that it can create quite a lot of stress and tension and all those sorts of things. But, when you get the right people, it's a good feeling, and you get the right balance of people and you can sort of work together as a unit, not only creatively but as a business type thing. So it is that. I mean, I think probably that's one of the things that holds a lot of bands back as well, and certainly held me back from doing more than what I've done previously, is that I wasn't able to sort of embrace the business side of the band. And I've found out that that's extremely important if you're going to do this stuff, because someone's got to take care of the money and the business and the merchandise and all the contracts and the negotiations and things like that. And I think, for the most part, that's been one of the greatest learning experiences for me, is taking all that sort of stuff on board and learning all those elements of business and running a business, as well, being from Australia and still sort of trying to establish a good solid fan base so that we can do this in a successful way. It makes a lot of sense for us when we do come over to tour. So whether we're here in the US or in Europe, to do a bigger tours, to try and cover as much ground as possible, because it costs so much for us to leave Australia. And leave, families and stuff like that behind. So it makes more sense for us to say, come over here and do 6 weeks or 7 weeks or 8 weeks, as opposed to just doing 3 or 4, which some bands here in the US can do that. They just go, okay, we're just going to go and do a 3-week one because we live here and it's easier. Whereas for us, it's more financially viable for us to come over and do 6 or 7 weeks and spend that extra time away from our family and friends and whatnot, so that we can make this work in a better way for ourselves. So, it is tough, but at the same time, we love doing it, and we do have a good support system back home. We have good support in place, and people, especially in our home city in Melbourne, people really get behind us and push the band and support the band. And, it's a nice feeling to have that support from back home, because, it can get a bit, when you've been out for, say, 6 weeks or something on tour, and, you can get a little bit, lonely and depressed and things like that. It's not what a lot of people would think it is. It's not, it's most of the time it's hard work, really, or sitting in a van and loading gear and doing stuff, and you get that 1 hour, or sometimes for opening bands it's even less, like half an hour or 40 minutes to do what you actually really love doing. And then there's 23 other hours in the day where you're not doing it. So, it's it's interesting. It's an interesting life, but I love it. I love to travel, love to go out and see the world. This year alone we've been to, I think we've been to like 19 countries or something this year.
Wow.
Yeah, so I wouldn't have been able to do that if I wasn't playing in a band, and we're not even halfway through the year yet. So, and we're going to go to a lot more as well. So it's kind of cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What would you say has been like the craziest place that you've performed?
I would say some of the shows in Eastern Europe are pretty crazy. Poland, places like that, they're pretty crazy. They love the metal over there. But I think because we spent a lot of time in Australia and we've played a lot in Australia, our audience there is kind of, we're probably more popular there at home than we are anywhere else at this point of our career, and that they really get the energy and the intensity of our live show, so they turn it on straight away as soon as the first beat kicks in. It goes pretty intense. We had a farewell show before we came over here for this tour, and we had a sold out show in a great little venue in Melbourne, and there was about 400 or 500 people in there, and it was just crazy, you know. And I just remember like towards the I think it was the last song, and there was this beam across the roof, and there was like people just like hanging off the roof and falling into the audience, and I was just like, my God. I'm so glad we have insurance, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, it was cool. It was really good, you know. But that's what we want to try and build up around the world, you know, like is to have these full on intense shows where people can get out that energy and aggression and build pent up frustrations and stuff with the world. They can come into our show and rid themselves of that and feel sort of I don't know, I guess, you know, feel better. You know, because I mean, I know I feel better after I get up and scream my head off.
Yeah, it's therapy.
Yeah, it absolutely is,
Definitely
man. It
is.
absolutely is, and it's cheaper than going to a therapist.
Exactly. And you enjoy it.
Yeah.
You enjoy it while the session's going on. You're enjoying it, and when you get out, you're still like have that high from like every time that I see a band that I love perform, and even some bands that I've never seen. It's like you get that like that body high, and it's a great experience. You get like exercising as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
it's just music, man.
Yeah, it's great, man. I love doing it. I'm very we're very lucky, very fortunate, grateful, and all those things about the fact that we get to do this so often. You know, we spend, you know, I think. Probably in the last couple of years, we spent more time here in the US and Canada than we have at home. So, and now also sort of we've been given the opportunity to sort of branch out into Europe as well, which is amazing for me because I love it over there. And you know, I've lived over there a few times before I started doing King Parrot, so I have a lot of friends in the UK and in Germany and Denmark and places like that, and Norway, Sweden. So. Yeah, it's great to be able to, you know, go over and visit them regularly as well. And you know, I mean, obviously you don't get to spend a great deal of time with them, but it's better than not seeing them at all.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, and, you know, you always make new friends too. So it's great to just sort of keep going around and doing the rounds and seeing all these, meeting new people and seeing people that you sort of build friendships with over the years, you know.
Actually, want to give a shout out to the rest of the bandmates. They're right now setting up at the venue.
Yes, they are.
Over in Santa Ana. So we feel the love, even though you're not here physically. We know that you're here with us emotionally and spiritually.
Yeah, they can continue doing the hard stuff while I sit here and talk crap with you.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, you're doing your job as a vocalist.
Yeah.
You're representing the band and everything, so...
Exactly.
Connecting with your audience.
Someone's got to do it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And out of your years of experience in the music business and the industry, what piece of advice would you tell everyone listening to it?
Well, I would say, you know, there's a few things, you know. I would say get tight as a band, you know. I would say to play as many shows as you can. I think that's one of the most important things because someone told me when I was like much younger, when I was first starting out, an older musician said, you know, one show is as good as 10 rehearsals. And I was like, you know what, that makes sense because there's that. I still remember the first time I ever got on stage, and I was extremely, extremely nervous. And that feeling was there as well for the next probably few shows that I played, and then I began to, you know, you start to get more comfortable with it, and you really want to enjoy that aspect of performing. So I would say get as comfortable as you can with being on stage. That's one of the best bits of advice is get comfortable up there and be confident up there because. You know, the audience feeds off that confidence and that ability to perform in a confident way. And then the other thing I would say is embrace the business aspect of the band and learn about other bands and the way that they do things. Learn about you know, the way that labels work. Learn about the way that booking agents work. Learn about the way that management companies work. And you know, I mean, from what I can gather, a management company or a booking agency or something like that aren't really going to take you on unless you've really got the whole machine rolling yourself. You know what I mean? They're gonna. You got to have the whole thing going on off your own back. You know, off your own steam, and be able to show them that you can do it yourself. And then they're going to be able to go, okay, well, we can take that and all the work that you guys have done, and then we can help you get to that next level, and you know, perhaps negotiate better record deals or negotiate better tours or you know, conditions or money or things like that. So they want to be able to see that you're doing it already, I think, and that's one of the most important things in this day and age, because you know, I still see it a lot, and I see it a lot in Australia, because, you know, bands all want to get out and they all want to leave and they want to get out of Australia and tour in America and tour in Europe, and a lot of them are just sitting there waiting, going, oh, someone's going to come and do it for us, and you know what? They're not. They aren't going to just come and do it for you. You've got to do it yourself. You've got to make your own luck. You've got to make your own opportunities, and really apply yourself to your craft, and that does include the business. It's part of it, and whether people like it or not, whether, you know, I know most band people don't like it, and that's fair enough. I understand that, but if you don't do it, then you don't get to do this, you know, and that's just unless you're like the most talented person in the world,
you know, the exception to the rule.
Yeah, like,
but.
You know, those, even some of the most talented people never get the opportunity to do it. I mean, I know I grew up with some amazing musicians, you know, musicians that were way beyond me and still are way beyond me. But I guess I've just tried to work at it, continually work at it, and I still don't consider myself to be a great musician. I'm a very basic musician, and but I love doing it, and I want to do this, you know, and I think that drive and that passion for it sometimes outweighs the talent of it, you know. Yeah. Unfortunately for the talented one, you know, it does, because I can definitely say that, and even the guys in King Parrot, we're not exceptionally talented musicians, but we love playing music, and we play it from the heart, you know. And we play with a lot of passion, and I think people pick up on that.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. When I perform, I want the audience to feel what I feel. Yeah, that's what I want to communicate. So it's a different experience every time that I perform.
Yep.
With my band, because we're so many different personalities, and
that only comes, I think, you know, you can sit there in the rehearsal room for as long as you like, but it only comes from having that, like, a lot of experience playing live. Yeah.
You can't buy experience.
Exactly, man. You can't buy that at Walmart.
Yeah. So yeah. What's next for you guys?
Okay, so we've got another month worth of touring. We're out with Voivod and Childbite at the moment, who are you know, Voivod, legendary metal band from Canada, been around for 30 plus years and still doing it, man. And that, to me, you know, that's just you know, inspirational in itself, that they just continue to do it. You know, it's so many albums and so many great albums, and still putting on a good live show, still performing in a way that does the music justice. And our good buddies Childbite, who we're sort of label mates with on Housecore Records. You know, we've toured with them a couple of times, and they're from Michigan, and really lovely guys, and they, you know, they bring in a sort of level of intensity to the performance that's not dissimilar to what we do. So it's really cool. So we're going to do that. We'll be home in July, right in the middle of winter in Australia. So we'll get straight away from all this beautiful weather, straight back to cold, rain, crap like that. And then we're going to spend a little bit of time writing. We've sort of halfway through writing a new record, and we want to spend more time doing that, just get that finished. We're going to go to Europe again in October on a tour that hasn't been announced yet, but it's looking like it's going to be a really amazing tour, and we'll do that. And then, you know, hopefully over the summertime in Australia, December, January, something like that, we will get the opportunity to record, and hopefully we'll see a new King Parrot album in 2017.
Sounds awesome. Thank you so much for
Thank
taking
you.
the time to come out here.
Pleasure.
And can't wait to see you guys perform tonight.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for your time. I appreciate it and your support. Cheers. Hey, this is Matt Young from King Parrot, and this is the track Need No Savior from our latest album, Dead Set. Check it out.